opening up family. So if you haven't already done so, you should go to Discord and download the project folder. It's a zip file. When you unzip it, you should see two subfolders. One is family and the other one is AdventureWorks. Put both folders to your desktop for convenience. So I'm not going to go through, the secret approach to family. I'm going to use this Excel to do a few things. So first of all, I'd like you to open a blank Power BI. Just click Power BI and wait. All right. I have two screens. Let me just grab it. The screen to here. So you can see I have a blank PBI Excel. So first and foremost, I will go to top left and click on File and Save As. So go to my desktop and look for family. So I'm going to name this family dash Eric. So I will go slow so you can follow me. And I will not stop for questions until the break in the middle. And toward the end of the session, I will also take a look at the question you have. But during the class, I will not pause for questions. So like always, I'd like you to go to the menu and click on Transform Data. So click Transform Data and click Transform Data again. So let me grab my Power BI. This is Power Query Editor. So it's another window. So if you go down to your taskbar, you see this is Power BI and this is the other window. It's Power Query Editor. So now I don't have any queries. So today we're going to learn something new. It's the shape of data. We need to get some data to work on. So I'd like you to right click and click on New Query. And it's an Excel file, so click on Excel Workbook. All right, so you see family and click Open. Okay, so you can see this Excel has 10 sheets. And some of them are named wide. It's a white 1 to white 5. And you also see some of them were named long. Norm 6 to Norm 10. So altogether, we have 10,000. And today, we're going to work on those data set with the wide shape. So I'd like you to click and check the box before white 1 to white 5. And then after that, just click OK. Then you should see 5 queries over here. So first and foremost, I want to teach you something. You can use parameter to make the connection and query easy. So from time to time, you may move your PBIX file to different place, to different directory and with different paths. And after you move it, the link will break. So in order to quickly fix that path problem, I recommend that you use parameter. So here I want you to right click and click new parameter and name parameter 1, just change it to path. So then I want you to go to, so let me close this one, go to family. So this is the path. This is how you get the path. Just click the open area of this box, and then you should be able to get the path. Just Control C and go back to Power Query, and you can paste it to current value. And don't forget to put another backslash, because your file comes after the backslash, right? And then click OK. So this is the path. And I want you to click, right click and select new parameter again. But this time, change the name to file. So the name of the file is right here. And I need you to copy both name and extension. So some of you may not be able to see the extension of Excel or any other extensions. So what you need to do is go to View and go down here and click Show File Name Extension. So if I click that, and you will not be able to see the extension. So if you go to View and click Show and check File Name Extensions again, and you will be able to see the file name and extension. So if you gently click on the file, you should be able to copy the whole file name, including the extension. So then go back to Power Query and paste it here inside the box of current value. So after this, you have two parameters. One is path, one is file. I want you to move path to the top and move file to below path. So then I want you to right click white one. You can right click, go down to the second last option, Advanced Editor, or you could just go straight to the menu and click on Advanced Editor. Okay, so click on that. So this will bring you to the end formula. So over here, I need you to select the whole path, including the double quote, the everything in red. And then you can type hash, and then the and symbol, the ampersand, and then file. Okay. I want to copy this because I need to do this 4 more times, and then click done. So this will not change anything, and this link still works. But now let's go to white 2 and right click, go to Advanced Editor and select everything red, and then paste path and file. Click done and go to white 3, right click, Advanced Editor, and do the same. White 4, Advanced Editor, and white 5, Advanced Editor, and then paste path and file and click done. So now I need you to rename these 5 queries to be meaningful. So let's double click on this and change it to all lowercase, white 1 to long 1. All right. So I like to, just to make it easier, copy this. So I'm going to rename white 2 to white 2 to long 2. And then white 3 to white 3 to long 3. And white 4 to white 4 to long 4. And then white 5 to white 5 to long 5. All right. So now let's go back to the first query. This is actually done right. Remember from the last session, Power BI sometimes tried to help you, but actually did things in the wrong way. But this time it's actually correct. So up till now, you can see this is a very, very simple table. So I'd like you to develop a habit to quickly understand the data and develop some kind of feeling with the data. And one good way to do this is to ask yourself, when you look at the data and ask yourself, what are the dimensions and what are the measures? Remember, I always talk about dimensions versus measures. And that is the right way to model the data or organize data into a table and then organize tables into database. So here for this table, ask yourself, what do you see? What dimensions and what measures? So we see 3 rows of data, right? And 4 columns. And if you look at the first column, can you guess? FAMID. So that looks like, family ID. So fam ID. So family ID, we have 3 families, 1 and 2 and 3. Very simple. So what about, the second and the fourth columns? So if you look at the column header, it reads FAM Inc. FAMINC 96, 97, and 98, right? So can you take a guess? So 96, 97, 98, they look like year, right? 1996, 1997, and 1998. But then before this, there's a prefix FAM income. So if FAM is family, FAM is family, what is INC? So INC could be income. So family income. And if you look at the actual numbers, so they look like income. So this is 40,000, all the way to 77,000. That look like family income way back in 90s, right? So to answer that question, what are the dimensions, what are the measures? I think it becomes clear to you, right? So we have 2 dimensions. The first dimension is family ID. And the second dimension is year. 96, 97, 98 are the values of the year. And 1, 2, 3 are the values of family ID, right? So 2 dimensions. How many measure? There's only 1 measure, that is family income, right? So I want you to look at the shape of this data. This shape is in the white shape. It's 3 by 4. You may feel comfortable with the shape of this data, but from now on, I want you to hate it. So this format, this structure of the data is actually really, really bad. And I want to tell you why it's bad. Because family income is in 3 columns. You see, in the second and third and fourth column, right? And then the dimension is hidden in the column header. Do you see that? So because year and the value of the year is hidden in the column header, 96, 97, 98. And in fact, the column header is a combination of dimension and measure, right? So it's a mess. You don't like it. So what we need to do is to reshape this data from wide to long. Okay, so I want you to go with me. First, let's click the first column. It's called Family ID. I want you to right click it. Then go down to unpivot column and then unpivot other column. So meaning if I select Family ID and I click unpivot other columns, I'm going to unpivot, the second, the third, the fourth column. So family income 96, 97, 98, right? So click that. You see the shape change from wide to long. It's not that obvious because it's not very wide and it's not very long. But it went from 3 by 4. Now you see what? You see 3 by 9, right? Yeah, actually 9 by 3, right? Okay, so now I want you to look at the attributes. This column here, it actually includes the name of the measure and also the value of the dimension, right? The name of the measure is family income, and the value of the dimension is actually year, right? 96, 97, 98. So obviously we need to split this one. So I'd like you to right click on this and go to split column. And we used to do split by delimiter, but this time I'd like you to do split by the number of characters. All right, after that, I'd like you to choose just once, but as far right as possible. So let's count from right to left, 2 characters. Tell me why. Oh, because if you count from right to left, you can just count 2 characters to extract the value of the year, 96, 97, 98, right? So then click OK, and 1 column becomes 2 columns. All right, and after that, just pay attention to the steps. Remember, Power BI is always trying to be helpful, but sometimes they do the wrong thing. So like this time, I like you to remove change type 1. Just remove it. So now, if you look at the column name, now this actually should be year, right? What about value? This actually should be family income. Just remember this, FAMINC should be the name of this column. So remember this, and then delete this column. You don't need this anymore, right? So you can just right click and remove. All right. And now you could rename the column. So this is year, lowercase year. And this should be Fam Inc. So it's family income. So now is a good time for you to change the data type. What do we need to change? So this is family ID, whole number, that's okay. This is year, so let's click ABC and change it to whole number. And this is family income, whole number, and that's okay. So now we have transformed the data. We changed the shape of data from wide to long. So I want you to remember the rule of normalization, and the right structure is as follows. Every dimension has its own column, but only 1 column. And every measure has its own column, but only 1 column. So let me repeat. The right data structure for a table is as follows. Every dimension should have its own column, but only 1 column. And every measure should have its own column, but only one column. So dimensions measure, they should all have their own columns. All right. So I hope everyone, you're still with me. Okay, now let's go to the second example. So let's take a quick look at this data and develop some feeling with the data. I like you to be curious. I also like you to become a detective. Every single time you look at data, it's like a detective looking at the crime scene. So you just want to know what's going on. What is that? So if you look at this data, we have 3 rows. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. So it's 3 by 7. And again, ask yourself, what are dimensions? What are measures? What are dimensions? What are measures? And recall from the first example, we see one dimension being family ID. And there are 3 families, and their IDs are 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So if you look across, what do you see? I see Fam Inc., Fam Inc., Fam Inc., Fam Inc., 96, 97, 98. We saw that before, so we know Fam Inc., is measured. We also see the second dimension, which is year, right? So what about the last 3 columns? So it's called spent 96, spent 97, spent 98. So spent is another measure. So we have 2 measures. One is family income, and the other is spent. So cash comes in and cash goes out, right? Family income, cash comes in, and spend, cash goes out. All right. So spend also has 3 years, 96, 97, 98. So with this, we're very confident that we know how many dimensions and how many measures. We have 2 dimensions, family ID and year, and we have 2 measures, and family income and spend. So after that, you should be able to reshape this data from white to long using pivot, right? So pivot is basically going from from white to long, and pivot is going from long to white, right? The opposite. So with that, I'd like you to select the first column and right-click and go all the way down and click pivot other columns. Boom. You see? So this look the same. We need to split this column. Just right-click and go down to split column and by number of characters. So we want to count from right to left only once and count how many characters? Just 2. So you have 96, 97, 98. And click OK. Now I have split one column into 2 columns. So what do we remember? We did with the first example, we delete this one, right? But not too fast, because here is the complexity. Before we deal with the complexity, let's remove change type 1. Okay. So let's look at the complexity. So under attribute dot 1, you actually see 2 values. One is family income, and the other one is spend. You can't just delete this, because some of these rows are family income, and some of these rows are spend, right? And we have to do something before we delete this one and rename this one, because these values again include both family income and spend. So what do we do? So we need to actually separate this into 2 columns. So one is family income and the other one is span. So this action is actually called pivot. So it's the opposite of pivot. So what we need to do is not clicking, because it's not here. We only have pivot here. So what we need to do, select this column, and I need you to go to transform and go to the menu and click transform. And then look for pivot column so you can see it here. All right. So under transform and click pivot column. So it's a little bit complex over here. So first I want you to read, use the names in column attribute 1, use the names in column attribute 1. So one is family income and the other one is spend. So two names to create new columns. So we're going to create two new columns. So one is family income and the other one is spend. So this is correct. So where do we take the values from? Which column? So it's not family ID. Should be valid, right? Should be valid. So we'll take the values from value column, but we separate them under two new columns, family income and spend. I hope you're with me. So let me click OK, and you will see what this does to the data. So click OK, then boom. So this makes sense, right? Right here, you see family ID and year, and then family income and spend. Very, very nice. Very nice. Okay. So now what you need to do is rename attribute.to, and this should be lowercase year. And you don't need to rename here because it's already taken family income and spend as the new header name or column name, right? So now is a good time for you to change data type. So this is correct, family ID being whole number and year should be whole number. And family income and spend whole number. So that's it. I hope you're with me. All right. So let me just update one more person. Okay. So let's move to the third example. Let's go to wet tree to long tree. Just take a moment and look at this data. I think obviously you see more data here. You see more data, but just take a look and ask yourself, what are the dimensions or what are the measures? So you see ID. So this time you see ID. How many IDs? All the way, from 1 to how many? 50. So 1 to 50. So we have 50 rows. We have 50 IDs, and we have 50 family, maybe family. So now it's ID instead of family ID. Okay. So what about the other columns? So we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 more columns. And if you look at the last two digits, it goes from 90 to 95. So assuming these are years from 1990 to 1995, how many years? So that's 6 years, right? From 1990 to 1995, we have 6 years. So year is the second dimension. So what is INC? INC, 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 INC. So I assume that's income, right? So if you recall what we had from the first example, structure-wise, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So in theory, these same steps should work. For example, 3, we just need to change the name. In here we have different name. But let's take a look at this bigger data set. So we have 50 families. We have 6 years. How many data points? I think it's easy math. 50 by 6, that's 300, right? That's 300 data points. Okay. So if you remember what we did in the first example, this should be easy for you. So I hope you can follow me with this, but doing this faster. So just right-click ID and go down and click unpivot other columns. All right. So we need to click the second column and split this column. Just go down to split column by number of characters and select ones as far as right as possible. So we count from right to left, how many? 2. So we can extract the year. So click OK. Now we split one column into 2 columns. We don't really need this column, but we remember this column contains the name of that measure, which is INC. So we remember that before we delete it. So let's just remove this column. Oh, let's just remember to delete this change type 1. Okay, then we remove the column. So after this, we can double click attribute.to and change it to a lowercase year, right? And then we double click on value and rename it to where? To INC, remember? Yeah. So you see, this is exactly the same. And one last step, we just need to change the data type of year to whole number. That's it. And if you look at this one, just pay attention to the steps. It's exactly the same as the first one. You see, and this can easily scale. So if the names are the same and the same steps should work on the same data structure, but bigger data set, right? So let's go to example number 4. So we're getting more and more challenging and more difficult. So let's take a look at this data set. Once again, very quickly ask yourself how many dimensions and how many measures and what are they, right? So we have family ID. So assuming these are family ID, and we have 3 families, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And the first group of columns, we have family income, 3 columns for 3 years, 96, 97, 98. So that's family income. And then we have second group of columns, spend. So spend 96, spend 97, spend 98. That's fine. That's just like the second example, except let's go to the third group of columns, and you have debt. So debt, and then also for 3 years, 96, 97, 98. But if you take a look at the value, right? This is not number anymore, and this is yes and no. So they look like Boolean values, it's logical value. Yes or no, 1 or 0, right? So this is tricky. So you will make a mistake if you do it the same way. But let's do it. So first, right-click family ID. So right-click family ID and go all the way down to unpivot other column. All right. So now let's take a look at attribute column. So like always, we need to right-click and split. So go down to split column and by number of characters. And let's count from right to left and 2, right? We only split once and click OK. All right. So now remember, there's no rush for you to delete this one because this time attribute.1 actually contains the names of 3 columns: family, income, and debt. And what else? Spend. Yeah, family, income, spend, and debt, right? So remember what we need to do after we unpivot this data, we need to pivot. So after we unpivot, we need to pivot. So let's select this column, then go to transform, okay? and look for pivot column. All right. So be careful over here. So let's read this sentence. Use the names in column attribute.1. Use the names or values in this column attribute.1 to create new columns. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Because we're going to create 3 columns: family, income, spend, and debt, right? So where do the values come from? So the values come from the value column, right? So let's click value. So looks like we made the right choice. So let's click OK and see what happened. Boom. Well, structure-wise, this looks reasonable. So you have family ID, and then you have, this is the year column. And then you have 3 columns: family, income, spend, and debt. But when you look at the values, these are wrong. So they all return 1, 1, 1, 1. This is wrong. Okay, so let's understand why it's wrong, and then we fix it. So remember, always remove the change type and change type 1. Let's remove this. Okay, so you don't have to delete this one. You can just go to the right-hand side of this step and click on the gear. So this will bring up the step we did just a while ago. So there's one thing you need to do. So you need to click on advanced options over here. So do you see this actually aggregate the value function? I don't know if you still remember the SQL lessons I gave you. So in SQL, if you select dimension and measure, remember, the dimension will need to appear after group by, and the measure, you have to wrap it, in some kind of aggregation. So you could use sum, you could use count, you could use minimum, maximum, and count distinct, average, right? So is this correct? Count. So if you're counting the cell, of course, it will return 1 because there's only 1 occurrence, right? So they all return 1. So what we need to do is click open this. In this case, you don't need to aggregate because there's only 1. So you just click don't aggregate. And then click OK. Boom. So this returned the original value. Okay. So, but before this, remember, we have both numbers and Boolean. And if you do count, they all return 1. But this is actually a number, and this is actually a Boolean value. I think you remember what we did in the second example. Let's go back there. So if you recall, we also did a pivot. So let's go to pivot, and let's click the gear. But we didn't do the advanced option. Let's click open here. But over here, it automatically did the sum. And you didn't see any error because the sum of that 1 value is the same as that value. So it still looks okay. But to do this the right way, we should actually click open this box and select don't aggregate. Okay, and remember that. So in future, we always need to click open advanced option and select don't aggregate and click OK. All right. So let's go to the end of example number 4. So have we finished? There's just one more step. So we need to change, rename attribute.2 to what? To lowercase year. And then after that, we need to change the data type to whole number. And that's it. So now, if you look at this, it's very nice. How many dimensions? 2 dimensions. How many measures? 3 measures. Let's check with the golden rule. And every dimension has its own column, but only 1 column. Yeah. And every measure has its own column, but only 1 column. That's correct too, right? So now we have the proper data structure. Okay, so now let's go to the last example. I hope you enjoy this so far. I tell you, you will come across this again, later. But using this simple example, it makes it easy for you to understand the concept. Normalization. How we can change the shape of data from white to long, and that action. So that action is called unpivot, and the opposite is called pivot. So pivot is changing from long to white. Okay, the last one. This one looks simple, but it's tricky. I tell you, it's very, very tricky. So once again, let's look at this data and develop some feeling with the data. If you take a look at this first column, is family ID, right? Family ID with 3 values, 1, 2, and 3. And then what about the second column? It looks strange. It's name D, so NAMED. And if you look at this column, it's name M, so NAMEN. So look like name. So name D, you see Bill, Art, Paul, and name M, you see Beth, Amy, Pat. So look like these are male and these are females. So what about this column? It looked like income, and then D. And this also looked like income and M. So some of you probably can guess it, right? So D is actually dad and M is actually mom. And you go, this is crazy, right? How can you hide such important information inside the name? That's just crazy. So this structure, I tell you, is very, very bad, and we need to change it. But how can we do this? And this is where you see Power BI and / Power Query Editor is super, super powerful. So after you understand the data structure and the issues with the structure, and you can easily, use the functions and features to clean it. So let's do it. And we always start from the first column. So this is family ID, and right click and go down to unpivot column. Unpivot other column. So this is the same as if you, instead of selecting this one, you can select these. And by clicking Shift, and then you can select the first one and press Shift and select the last one. So then you can select all 4 columns. So and then you can right click this and click on pivot column. So this works too. It's the same. So just by convenience, I'm lazy. So just select this one and then go down and unpivot other column. So that worked the same. Okay. And then after this, do you remember the next step is going to the attribute column and right click and go down split column by what? By number of characters. And this time it's 1 character counting from the right, because it's the last one we need to separate. It's D for that and M for mom, right? So just type 1 and select once as far right as possible and click OK. Boom. So now you have this attribute.1 that contains the name of the 2 measures, right? So the name and ink. And then this one includes mom and dad. So what is that? Okay, so I didn't ask you to think the dimensions and measures. So we can do it now. Sorry, I missed that step. So there's definitely one dimension called family ID, right? The second dimension is what? Is name, the name of the person. The third dimension is actually maybe a row in the family, right? row in the family, a row or parent. So parent. So the value could be mom, could be dad, right? So that's the third dimension. And then there's only one measure, which is family income or income, right? So with that, you see, you still need to do pivot. So let's click this column and go to transform and go down and just look for pivot column. All right. So make sure we select the right one. So let's check. Use the names in column attribute.1 to create new columns. So one is name and the other one is income. That's correct. So where does the value come from? So coming from value. And let's click open advanced option. Remember that. Let's choose don't aggregate and then click OK. Boom. It's very nice, very nice. You see how powerful Power BI is. So now, remember to delete change type 1. Okay. So now we can rename the second column to what? Whatever you like. So you can change this to row, right? So this is name and this is income. That's correct. So now we can change the data type. So this is family income, whole number, and row text, and name. This should be text. Let's click and change it to text. And this is income. This should be whole number. Very nice. So now we have reshaped the data from white to long. So when we have just a few rows, it's not that obvious. But if you have 50 families, you will see. So it's actually from white to long, right? Or if you have more years, it's going to be really wide, right? Okay, so I don't know if you have any question. So no question. I hope you don't have any question. So I'm going to exit here, and I have it done for you. If you download the folder, you should be able to see this already done for you, right? But one thing that I want you to do before you load this, you don't actually, you don't need to do any visualization with this. So what you can do is just right click this and disable load so it doesn't load. But this is a very small data set, and even if you load, it's not going to be big, right? So just close and apply. But let's see if we disable the load, what will happen. You can just multi-thread. I think so. And you can. So you have to do it one by one. So let's disable. So once you disable, you make this italic, right? So disable and disable and disable. So now you can close and apply. All right, so this will apply changes, but nothing happened. You will not see any data because we disabled the node. Okay, if you save it and then close it. So this is the new one I just did. You see how small it is? It's very small. It's only on 14. But this one has more because I did both. So I did the reshape from white to long, and I also did the reshape from long to white. Okay, so it's bigger, this one. Okay, so we still have some time before we take a break. So let's start the second project. And let me close this one. Let's go to the second project called AdventureWorks. So over here, we have several files. And this is the instruction file I created for you. I already have it open. So it look like this. We'll go through this while we create the visual. So at the end of, on the second page, I'm going to show you how to tell a story. So once you create the dashboard, it's important that you pretend you're the business user. Let's use it to see if you can tell a good story. Let's see how the narrative and the flow. So we'll get there after we finish building the dashboard. So I think we have enough time to build the dashboard, and then let's go through the story and see if it makes sense. Okay, so then let's go back here. What else do we have? So this is AdventureWorks background. So this is the background. And double click and see what we get. So let me just bring this over here. So this looks like a picture. It's a PNG file. It's a PNG file. So last time I told you, you could use PowerPoint to create a background. So we're gonna do that. So we may not have time to create the background, but I actually included the PowerPoint. So you can see how the background was created. So if I open the PowerPoint, you see this, right? So you see, it's just the shapes, different shapes. So these are all shapes and color. So where did I get this? I probably got this from the internet. So AdventureWorks. So it's a fictitious company that manufactures bicycle, right? So now you know the business of the company. So every shape, so you see, we have 6 of them, and we have 4 cards, right? So we have 4 cards and 6 visuals. And hopefully, we will have a proper flow, and we can use it to tell a story. So for this shape, you just need to create once, and then you can duplicate 3 times, and this as well. So if I right-click this, you can actually ungroup it. So this actually includes multiple shapes. You see? So, and right-click again, and you can ungroup even more. Yeah, I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to show you, these are all shapes, right? Just different shapes. You see? These are all shapes. See? I hope you see. Yeah. And then you can see the gradient. If you go to format shape, and you have fill and line. And if you go to fill, this is a gradient fill, right? So that's why you see this becomes a little bit like 3-dimension. It looks nicer, just look nicer. So let me just undo all of this. So you have something like a background. Then what you need to do is right-click, just click File, and then Save As. You can save as, just go to here, and just save as type. Just pick PNG or JPEG. Both works. I think let's use PNG. This is more common, and then save it, and then you have that background, right? So we don't have time to actually do the design, but I just show you how to do it. So later on, you can be more creative, and you can create different background using the PowerPoint. All right. So I hope you get that. All right. So so we have a question. I'm sorry, I missed the part where we create the parameter pass. What was the purpose? Okay. So Cheyenne, we're going to create parameters again in the AdventureWorks project, so don't worry. So let's close PowerPoint. Let's close PowerPoint. Close this one, and close this guy. All right. So then for the data, we have actually 2 Excel. So the first Excel, let me just open it. Okay. So over here, we have 5 sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, and sheet 5. I want to tell you the difference between sheets and tables. So what is the difference? I think most people probably know. On this sheet one, you could have multiple tables for sure, right? So you could create a table here and create another table, no problem, right? But I want you to go to formulas and create name manager. So we actually name the range or table. So table/range. So if I go to calendar, this guy. So for instance, you can go to edit. Oh, a easier way is probably this. Let me show you the easy way. Okay, let me just bring this. The easy way is here. So click the name box. So this box is called name box, just beside the formula bar. So click the name box. You should see 5 tables. So candidate, customer, product, sales, and territory. Okay. Well, they're tables or ranges, the same. Okay. All right. So, just so you know, let me click this one more time. Wait. So you see, we have actually 4 dimension tables and 1 fact table. So sales is fact table, and then we have calendar, that's when, customer, that's who, product, that's what, and territory, that's where. So who, what, where, when, and then the fact table, right? The normal stuff. Let's close this one without saving. I'd like you to be careful with the raw data. So you can open it, but be really, really careful. Don't change it and don't save the change. Otherwise, you will have to download again, the raw data. The raw data are not supposed to be changed. And if there's any issue with the raw data, you should fix it, within Power BI. You just need to create the connection and query, and then you can fix the issue without touching the raw data. All right. So now let's take a look at the budget file. This is a much easier file. Okay. So I think most people would think this is very, very normal table, right? Normal. In fact, I work with accountants and financial analysts before, and they love to do something like this. You see, it's actually fancy. You have the color, and then you have the range. You can close it, you can open it, and it's actually quite fancy. So the actual table is actually here. The actual table is here, and before this, you have 3 rows. AdventureWorks budget data. So this is budget data. If you understand the budgeting process in a company, so it's usually coordinated by finance department. The finance department reach out to, in this case, reach out to maybe marketing, sales, and product teams or department, and ask them to submit the budget data. So let me just give you more context. Imagine what year was this? This is 2016. Okay, so imagine, let's go back to December 2015. So December 2015. What usually happens in December, the last months of the year? That's when you almost finish year 2015 and you're about to start a new year, 2016, right? So that's when finance reach out to different departments and ask them to do budget. There are different names for budget. You can call budget plan, or you can call it target. So it's basically you setting goals for the new year, right? So in this case, I want you to take a look at this data and once again, ask yourself, what are the dimensions and what are the measures? Okay. So I want you to take a look at the first 3 columns. So these columns. So if you look at the column header, so this is category, subcategory, and product name. category, subcategory, and product name. So what is it? Category, subcategory, and product name. It's actually one dimension. It's product dimension. If you recall what we did on Wednesday. So it's the same dimension, but the 3 different levels of the same hierarchy. At the top of the hierarchy, you have category, right? So how many values under category you have? If I just expand this, you will see accessories, bikes, clothing. So the company produces bikes and also some, clothing for the riders and accessories, right, for the bikes. Yeah. So 3 categories. But then you have subcategories. So for instance, under bikes, you have different bikes. You have mountain bikes, road bikes, and touring bikes. And under accessories, you have cleaners and bike racks and bike stands, and tires and tubes, right? And then under subcategory, you have more detailed product names. So you can see this all-purpose bike stand. So it belongs to subcategory and then belong to accessory. I hope you understand this. So it's a hierarchy, within a family, you have a hierarchy. So you have grandfather, father, and son. So category is grandfather and subcategory is father, and product name is son. I hope you understand, right? So what's the relationship? Well, the father could have multiple sons, and the son has only one father. That's the relationship. It's one to many, right? So category to subcategory is one to many. Subcategory to product name is one to many. So I hope you get that. So this is one dimension, product. And do you see another dimension? Yes. If you look across, you see January through December, right? So what is that dimension? That's date or calendar, right? So it's January to December 2016. So 2 dimensions, one is product and the other one is calendar. What else? Then we have one measure. All these, dollar amount. What is it? So as we said before, these are goals, right? These are plan and these are budget. Okay. So for instance, if you look at this number, maybe let's take this number, E14, let's take this number. So this is a budget amount we set for mountain, for mountain bike 100 and silver, 38 inches. It's very, very specific. So this $370,000 is the budget we set for this mountain bike 100 in silver and 38 inch for January 2016. So it's very, very specific. So this is the goal you want to achieve. This is the sales goal you want to achieve for a given month and for a given product, right? So I think by now you see how we determine a number and how we classify a number, how we define a measure is by defining its dimensions. So we just have to tell people the value under the product dimension and the value under the month dimension. And then you're able to determine, you're able to understand what that number is, right? I hope you get it, right? So once we understand this data, 2 dimensions of one measure, product dimension and calendar dimension, and the budget amount is the measure. So let's talk about how bad this data is. I think by now, with the training that we have done with the family project, you understand this is really, really bad because you know what? The value of one dimension is actually hidden in the column header, right? And in fact, the measure is nowhere to be set in this data. You know, if you don't have these three rows, we have absolutely no idea what these numbers are. And that's why it's bad. So then what is good? What is considered good? If you recall the golden rule says every dimension should have its own column, but only one column. And every measure should have its own column, but only one column. Okay. So with that, we understand how bad this data is, and there's more. So we don't need these three rows. We don't need that. And we don't need this subtotal and subtotal and subtotal and grand total. Why? Oh, because if we have the details, for instance, if I have the details here, I can calculate the sum or the subtotal, right? So if I have the details, I can calculate the subtotal and calculate subtotal over here, right? If I have all the details, I could have calculate the grand total. So I don't need this subtotal and grand total, and I don't need this grand total. So this is the column total and this is the row total. We don't need those. Okay, so we will need to delete them and delete the extra columns at the top, extra rows at the top, and then we need to do what? Unpivot. So we need to transform the data from white to long. Okay. So with that, let's close this without saving. Just be really, really careful not to touch the raw data. Okay. So now let's open a new Power BI file. So I hope you're with me so far. So let's close this. Okay, so this is a brand new Power BI file. It's a PBIX file. So let's first and foremost, let's go to top left and click File. Oh wait, yeah, click File and click Save As. So let's go up one level. Let's look for AdventureWorks. And in here, let's choose the same name, but let's do a dash and then Eric. And that's it. Okay. So first and foremost, we can go to transform data, and an easier way, you can also go to get data, or you can just click on Excel workbook, right? You can click on this. So you can select this Excel, and you remember this Excel contains, I think, 5 tables, if I'm not mistaken. So just click open. All right. I think you remember sheet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these are sheets. And you also remember the tables defined by the name range, right? So I think it's actually better to select the name range. All right. And for convenience, you can just click no. Now you don't even need to stay in the Power Query editor. You can come back to Power BI. And you should be able to see the data here. You see how fast Power BI consumes data. So the sales table is usually bigger. It takes more time to load. All right, so you see, but let's go inside Power Query editor. Let's do something with it. Once again, like what we did with the family project, let's create two parameters, and the first one is new parameter. And let's rename this parameter to pass. Okay, let's go copy the pass from here. So this is the pass. That's pretty easy to copy. Let's click Control C and go back to Power BI, and then paste it to current value. And please remember to put an extra backslash, because the file goes after the backslash, right? And click OK. All right. So move this to the top. Let's click another parameter. And let's call this file 1. Why? Because we have two files. File 1. So let's come here, and this is the one, right? Just gently click this file and copy the file name with the extension, and go back to Power BI, Power Query Editor, and we'll paste it to the current value and click OK. So this file 1. Let's also create file 2. Oops. File 2, right? Let's go back to the folder and gently click on budget. Let's copy the full name, including the extension. Let's go back to Power Query Editor and paste it in the current value box. All right. And move this to the top. So now let's go inside calendar and right click and go to Advanced Editor. Just include all the red and type pass and ampersand and file 1. Right. I want you to copy this because we're going to do the same to the other 4 files. You click done. So this still works. It doesn't break. Let's go to Advanced Editor. Do the same. Remember the benefits. Why are we doing this? I will show you why are we doing this. All right. So this is sales. And this is territory. Okay. So this works. It doesn't break. So let me just save this. Apply now. Okay, so let me save this. Close this. So let's save again, just to be sure, and close this. So let me show you. So if I move this file, let's say I move it, let's cut it, go to download. And now if I open this Power BI file, all right, so if I go on the menu and click transform data, and you will see problem. So if I go to calendar, customer, you start to see issues here, right? Yeah, you see the question mark? You see? You start to see issues because the link is broken. The link is broken. All right. So what you need to do, instead of going to every single file, you just need to fix the path. That's it. So if you click the new path from here, so what is this path? Let's go download. Download? No. Let me try to get past. It doesn't look right. Properties. Should be D, right? D, whatever. Let me go to D. And then we have download. Okay. Yeah, so here. If I go back to here, manage parameter. So this is the path. What I need to do is change the path and put a backslash, and then this should work. Oh, you know what? It's oh, I moved the Power BI file, but I didn't move the Excel. So yeah, so this path doesn't work. In fact, the original path should work, right? Because let me just go back to, yeah, so this illustrates the same point. So I move if I move the source file, I would need to change the path. But now let me just change the path back. So this is like I moved the source file to a different place. So if I go back to where I'm a little confused. So if I go to D and then where is my desktop? It's over here. So this is AdventureWorks. Okay, so this is the right path. If I go back to here, and I can fix it here, and then click the backslash. Yeah, so this actually this link actually shouldn't break because the source file stayed in the same path and same folder. So, and this is the bad example. But I think you know what I mean now, right? So let me just close this without saving. Okay, so what I need to do is move this back. Let me just cut it and go back to, yeah, this same folder. Oh, I didn't close this one, sorry. Don't save. Try again. Okay, so now let me open this. So guys, it's 8:30. Let's take 10 minutes break and come back. And we can start building the dashboard and starting with design, background and theme. So during these 10 minutes, please go for some water. But let me check if I have any questions. I don't have any questions on Zoom. Oh, I do have some questions. Let me just go through those questions. Oh, so Sophia asked the question, do we need to separate the year and month? Are you asking about the calendar? Let me just try to understand your question. The months and year, to separate months and year. Just so you know, this is like a universal calendar. It has every single derivative of the date you can think of. And it's actually a really good idea for you to create something like this. So everything comes from this date, right? So you can derive the year, quarter, months number, months, and fiscal year. Some companies, their fiscal year end is not December, so this could be, maybe for the banks in Canada, the fiscal year end, I believe it's is November, right? And some other companies, the government has the fiscal year end, I think in March 31st. Yeah. So hope I answer your question. If not, let me know. Lowly. Doesn't seem so as there's only so Lowly is trying to answer the question. One same year 2016 there plus this can be set as data format neither once needed, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, actually you guys already understand each other. Oh, Sophia, you are talking about the budget table. Okay, got it. Oh, that's a good question. So now I understand you. So separate months and year. The answer is no. So when it says it's a month, it's actually a date. You can use the first day of the month to represent that month, right? So ultimately, it comes down to a date. So for financial statements, and you also see maybe quarterly statements. So let's say you have Q2 2023. So we can actually use June, or we can actually use June the 1st, and sometimes use the last day, and June the 30th. It's actually clean if you use the first day. So it's always the first day of the month. If financial reporting should be the last day of the month and the quarter, right? So it could all come down to the date. Yeah. Okay. So let me check if we have any question in the Google Doc. I think I have it open. Google Doc. We don't have any more questions. It's still from the last one. Okay, so looks like everybody got it. That's good. So I will also take a break. So we'll resume the session at 8:40. Oh, Sophia has a question. Is the golden rule mentioned here the same as the 3 normalization rules in database and SQL? It's related. I'm glad he mentioned the 3 normalization rule. That is related to how granular the data should be, within a table. So when you have a table, you have rows, columns, and cell, and we shouldn't see, multiple values in the same cell, or all the columns should depend on the primary key and stuff like that. So that's a little more advanced, and we could always, readdress that later on. So let's resume the course. Actually, I forgot one important thing. We haven't noted the budget table, so we need to go back to Power Query. Let's click Transform Data. Okay, so over here, remember, this is what I prefer. I always right-click here, click New Query, and it's an Excel. So let's click Excel Workbook. So let's select Budget. And there's only one sheet. And you notice that the data coming from the other table is clean, so there's not much to do. So we just load it. So let's check this box and click OK. And once again, how do you handle this? It's easy, right? Let's just go to Advanced Editor, make this dynamic. Let's select everything red and type as and file 2 and click done. So this link shouldn't break. All right. So like always, if you look to the right, Power BI tried to help you and did 2 extra steps for you. Promoted headers, but it promoted the wrong header, and change type. And remember the rule, we don't change type until we solve all the data issues. And we know this table has a lot of issues. So let's remove the last 2 steps. So this is pretty much what you saw, right? Inside the Excel. Remember what we need to do? We need to remove the top 3 rows. If you recall what we learned on Monday, you just need to go above 1, 2, 3. A lot of features and functions are hidden over here, and you can access them very, very easily. Just go all the way down to remove 12 rows, right? How many rows we need to remove? Now just type 3. There you go. Okay. So now the new first row is actually the header. So you can go above 1, 2, 3 again, click the down arrow, and use first row as header. Easy, right? And always be careful. They always, the Power BI try to change the type again. And now is not the right time. Let's just remove this. Okay, remember, we have all this subtotal and subtotal and subtotal and grand total. It's pretty easy to filter out this. You notice that the value under category, they all have total in the value. So uppercase T, T-O-T-A-L, right? So what you need to do is click the down arrow to filter. So go to the text filters, and you can go down to the last one, does not contain. Okay, so does not contain total. Oops, sorry. It's uppercase T, lowercase o-t-a-l. And then click OK. That's it. See? It's pretty neat. So let's move all the way to the right. Remember, we don't need the grand total over here. Easy, right? Right click and remove. All right. So now we have the right data, but wrong structure. wrong format. So you can do it two ways. You can select these three columns and select the first one, select the last one here, and press Shift. And then you can right click on pivot other column, or it's easier, you can just select the first column, January, and all the way, and press Shift, okay, and select December. And right click any column and click on pivot column. Easy, right? It's pretty easy. So after this, what you need to do is, let's take a look. Let me just double check with my, oh, somebody is trying to get in. Just 1 second. I want to make sure I did everything right. Just give me a second. Remove and pivot. Yeah, I think I did it right. So now we just need to rename attribute and value. So if you did the family exercise, this becomes easier for you. So just double click on this and change it to months. And double click on this. This is actually the budget amount. BUDGET Just observe the naming convention. So it's a upper camel case with no space, with no underscore, right? Okay, so after this, now it's a good time to change data type. So let's check from the first column. So category should be text, subcategory definitely text, product name, text, product key, phone number, a month. So this is day. So do you see that? When I click day, and this is very smart, and it just change it to the first day of the month, right? I know it's months, but you know, it is showing a day, right? Okay, this should be a whole number. Okay, so are you with me so far? So with this, we can close it here, or we can close and apply, doesn't matter. If you close it from here, it will prompt you. Do you want to apply your changes? Yes. Okay, so let's wait for this to finish. Let me just check the steps. So I did this. So let's go to number 3, modeling. Okay, and let's go back here. And let's go to the model view. It takes a few seconds to come out. What is happening? Okay. All right. So what you can do is collapse properties and collapse data, and go to bottom right and click the fit to page. So it can fit to page. It's easier if you move all the dimension tables to the top. So I want you to follow this sequence. It's 5W1H. It's who, what, where, and when, and maybe why and how, right? 5W1H. So where is who? So this is customer, and this is what, product, and this is where, territory, and this is when, calendar. And we actually have 2 fact tables. So one is sales, and the other one is budget. Okay, is it easy to see? If it's too small, and let's click the fit to page again, so it becomes bigger, right? Okay, so over here, product, just increase the height till the scroll bar disappeared. Okay, let's click fit to page again. This shouldn't change. Okay, sales, you'll also have it. Come on. Let me make this longer. All right, so let's do fix fit to page again. All right, so let's check the connect. Oh, this one too. Okay, and this one. Okay, so let's check the connection. So between customer and sales, if you click on the link, it's from customer key to customer key. It's correct. So what about product to sales? It's here. It's from product key to product key. Now, in fact, it's a good idea to hide the key, but let's, create the the relationship first. So let's make sure everything is connected. What about territory to territory? Sales territory key to sales territory key. That's correct. And what about calendar? So this is the only one we haven't connected. So because you see two dates, an order date, and I think there's another day, ship date. It doesn't know which one to connect to. So you can manually connect them. Let's use order date. So it doesn't matter if you go from order date to date or from date to order date, it's the same. So we'll recognize the one-to-many relationship. So click on this. Yes, it's correct. So for the budget, you only have two dimensions, remember? Only the product and calendar. So if you look at product, it's from product key to product key. That's correct. And once again, Power BI doesn't know you want to connect date to months. So let's do that manually. All right. So it's all one-to-many relationship. It's one from the top dimension table to many in the fact table at the bottom, right? So after this, let's just hide the key. It's just easier, it's clean when you go to the report view. So what is the customer key? Yeah, so let's just close that. So product key, and product key. It's in alphabetic order, just so you know. And sales territory key and sales territory key. All right, and calendar is from date. We're not using date key. I will explain why. Date to what? Order date. Right. In fact, we need to leave this on because chances are we will use the date, right? So, but we can close the eye of order date, right? What else? This is product key. We also have months, and we need to maybe leave this on. Do we need? No. Let's close this out. So we can do everything from the calendar instead of the back table. All right. So so let's go back to the data view. Let's look at calendar. I really don't like this. So click this and change it to a easier format. This is easier. It's YYYY dash MM dash DD, right? So just take a look at the date key. It's not good. So this is YYYY MM DD. It's actually much better to use date because you can derive the hierarchy, so you can easily get the dates or months and sort it in the right order. So this is not the best. Okay, that's the reason why we're not using the date key. Okay, so let's do a check. So we finished this. We also create the one-to-many relationship. We have the primary and foreign key, right? So now let's create the measures. We need to create 4 measures. So let's create 4 measures. Let's go to the report view. Okay. We need a measure table. Remember, it's always a good idea to create a measure table, quote unquote table. It's not a table because after you create this table full of measures, when you go to the date view, it shows nothing. So Power BI only saved the formula, right? So the table, quote unquote, table is actually a folder or container, okay? So you can just go to a menu and click enter data. So just replace the name of the table with measure. And that's it, and click no. Okay, so now let's just go to the right of the measure table and click the 3 dots and new measure. So let's start creating measures. So in real industry grade cases, you're going to create a lot of measures using DAX. So sometimes we could have 50, 100, and several hundred measures. So that's a really complicated use case or project. So in the bootcamp, you're going to do just that. The capstone project, you probably have 50, 60 measures. And some of them use very advanced DAX, the data analysis expressions. Just for illustration purpose, we're going to create 4 measures. The first measure is called sales. So let's do sales. So this is just sales. We need to wrap sales in a sum. Just type sum and press tab, and then type sales. So where is it? A sales amount. Yeah, so this one. And close the bracket and click the check mark. All right. So now you can delete column 1. So this is a placeholder. Otherwise, you cannot create a table. So you just need to go to column 1 and click the 3 dots and delete it from model. So you will send the measure table to the top. Okay. So after you do this, you always form a very good habits. Keep all the measures within this folder. Okay. So now let's create another measure, new measure. So this should be the budget amount. So let's name it budget. BUDGET. So type sum. Okay. And this is the budget amount. So we just wrap budget amount in a sum. Some of you probably ask this question again. Why can't we just use sales amount and budget amount? Why do we have to take the trouble and create a measure for that? Now, this is indeed another golden rule, and you just don't use the column from the fact table. So if you need any KPIs, you may want to wrap every single measure in the fact table in a sum. The benefit of that is many. There are many benefits because it's a measure and it's going to respond to all the filtering, all the selection, and plus it's dynamic, it's flexible. So there are just many benefits. So between sales and budget, let's create a variance measure. So let's click new measure. let's replace measure with variance. So this should be sales minus budget. Pretty easy, right? Yeah. So now, because sales and budget are measures, so variance naturally is also a measure. So now let's do the last one, new measure. So rename this measure to variance percentage. Yeah, here. So let's use divide. So yeah, you can just do the forward slash, but sometimes it will give you the overflow error. So divide can handle that. Just press tab, and the numerator should be what? The variance, and then the denominator should be sales. Maybe it should be budget, right? Let me see. I think it should be budget. Yeah, should be budget. Good. So let's click check mark again. So we want to make sure we get the format right. So let's go to budget. So let's select, you know what? Let's select currency. So this should be currency. And instead of auto, let's have just one decimal maybe, and click again. Okay, so let's do the same for sales. So if you follow these steps and you will do everything very clean, and when you create the visual, it will show the right data label. So click currency again. So it will include the thousand separator. Oh, and then click auto once, click it again. So same for variance, right? Let's do currency. Okay. And the last one is variance percentage. So this should be percentage. Right. And yeah, let's keep 2 decimals. Good. So we finish creating the measures. So let's do a check. All right, so check. Now let's do the theme and background. Go back here. So theme. So you need to go to view. So this time we don't have a custom theme. So let's just choose one theme from the Power BI, the available theme. I believe we use classic. Just let's choose classic. So once you choose it, if you go back here, and if you go near this report, it shows the current theme classic, right? So we're going to use this green, black, and red, right? So let's rename page 1. Double click it. Let's rename it to dashboard. Okay, now it's time to import the background. So now we're just on the bare canvas. There's nothing here. So you can just go under visualization and click the paint roller, the format, and just go to canvas background and browse the image. So here is the PNG background. And click open. And you don't see it. That's because you haven't changed the transparency. So for image fit, let's click fit and reduce the transparency to 0. So now, boom. So you have very nice background, and we're going to use the background to dictate, what visuals goes where, right? So this takes a bit of design thinking. So you need to plan ahead, right? So why do we need 4 cards? So these 4 measures will, each one will take a card. So then we'll create 6 visuals, and what story and what message are we going to send, right? So there's a little bit of planning and designing, right? So with that, let's don't forget, we are comparing the actual sales performance in 2016, if you remember, and to 2016 budget, right? So let's do a filter. So this is a filter on this page. Filters on this page. So let's collapse measure. Let's open or expand calendar. So we can just grab year. Where's year? You can use this year. You can use this year. Just give me a second.
Yeah.
So, you can just drag this here to here, and let's use simple filtering. Just click basic filtering. Sorry. So what you need to do is just check 2016. That's it, and then collapse. Yes. Okay. So with that, if you go to view, you can actually, make the filters disappear. So now we have more space. All right. Let's just go back to our instructions. So we finish the theme, or we imported the background, and we format the background, and so we filter it. So now it's time for us to create the visuals. So let's do that. Do this one by one. So first we need to, so you see, this is the reading habit, and people usually go from top down and left to the right, right? From top to down and from left to right. So after the logo, the name, company name and logo, so we want to see 4 big cards and give you the big numbers. And the CEO is going to look at the 4 big number and before he do a deep dive, right? So let's do that. Let's bring a card. So where is card? So you can go to, yeah, it's here, 1, 2, 3. The last one in the 4th row. So click a card, right? So we need to bring one measure. So let's collapse the calendar. Let's bring sales. So first number is sales. So it shows 16.5 M. So if it's not showing the right number, most likely you didn't do the filter, right? It is actually showing 4 years. So now we only see the sales for year 2016. Okay. So let me make sure the format is correct. Just give me a second. Just to save the back and forth, I want to, let's go to the format, and let's go to general. Remember the expand properties, expand position. So we have the 4 numbers, size and position. So let's do that. So it's going to be 85. And this is 144. And we just create one, and then we make 3 copies of the same card. And what about position? So this is 471. And if you do it the first time, of course you will do the alignment. Just make sure they're fully aligned and look nice. All right, so this. So remember what we always do, go to effects, and I always want to turn off the background. So now it is already off. Go back to visual. Let's do the color. So go back to visual, and the call out value, let's use a white. Yeah, let's use white. And how about the label? Let's also use white. All right, so this looks nice. So once we finish one, it's easy just to, oh, remember, it's always a good idea to select selection so we can see. We can put everything in order, and we can also see the sequence and also how far and how close the visuals are to you, because that determines what is visible to you, right? The top is always hiding the ones at the bottom, right? So once you have this, it's pretty easy. Don't mess with this anymore, you know. So you can just select this and select this again to select the actual visual on the canvas. So once you select this, you can press Control C and then Control V 3 times, 1 and 2 and 3, right? So to really differentiate this, you can name this guy sales. Let's do that. So this is what? Sales. Okay, so let's name this. Wait, this is not sales. This is actually sales, right? Remember? The first one is actually at the bottom. Yeah, let me just undo that. And let's undo this again. This is actually sales. Okay, so this is sales. Let's move this to the top. Okay, so what about this one? This is budget. So this is variance. And this is variance percentage. Okay. So then we need to replace. So if this is budget, we need to replace this with budget, right? So it's easy. You just replace with budget. This is variance, replace with variance. And this variance percentage, let's replace it with the variance percentage. Let me tell you a trick. So if you do the first and last one, it's going to be really easy for you to align them. So let's select the last one. So if you go to, so the only thing you need to change now is the position, correct? Yeah, the only thing you need to change is the position. And let's go to properties. We don't need to change the site. The position is going to be, 1089. So this is 68. Okay. Yeah. So after this, I'll tell you a trick. So you can select all 4. So press select the first and press Shift and select the last one. So you select all 4. So what you need to do, you go to Format and go to Align, Align, and click Align. So it should align top. So like this. And after that, so it's vertically aligned. So now you need to distribute horizontally. Nice, eh? It's really, really nice. But wait a minute. So this should be, sorry, this is sales budget. This should be budget, and this should be various. Let's remove that. Now what you can do is, oh, sorry, I did it wrong. So unselect this. Let me just, yeah, unselect this. You can select this. So move this down, move this here. So what you can do is select the first, press Shift, select the last, right? And then go to Format again, align to the top, and distribute horizontally. Nice. Okay. So let's check the format. Is the format correct? So there's 16.5 and 16.9 and M means million. So this is variance. I actually don't like this decimal. Let's go to variance. Let's remove, let's put 0 decimal. So this is nicer. Okay, so we finished the card. Isn't that easy? It's pretty easy. So now let's do a, let me see. Let's do a bar chart. So this is a bar chart. So before you do a new visual, always make sure you click the blank area. Don't select anything. So if you have one existing visual selected, you click a new one, it's going to change the chart type by accident. So click the blank and then click this. Wait a minute. No. I need a bar chart. This is a column chart. Okay. So I need this guy. Okay. So what do we need? So y-axis, I need from product table, I need category. So I bring category to Y. Do you remember on Wednesday we create a product hierarchy? You can create a product hierarchy over here, or you can just bring subcategory over here. This is not a problem. So, or you can just create a hierarchy including category, subcategory, and product. Otherwise, you will have to bring both of them to allow drill down. Okay. So now x-axis, I want sales versus budget. So let's bring sales first, and then the budget. Okay. So this is the visual. So now to save the back and forth, I want to make sure I got the size and position right. So let's do that. So after a while, you get a hang of it. So you always know where to go to get what. So this is general properties and position. So let's make it 200 high and 390 wide. And this is 24. And this what? This is 200. Nice. Okay, there's something I need you to do. So naturally, once you select the theme, it's going to apply the theme automatically. So if you click view, you go, this theme, the most important color is green and then black, right? So it's green and black, okay? So what you need to do is click the 3 dots. So we really want to make sure this is sorted correctly. So you can do this. So it's sorted by what? It's sorted by sales, or budget, or category. I want to sort this by category, so it doesn't change the sequence. So let's click category. But I want to sort this by category in ascending order. So I want accessories to go to the top. So click 3 dots and click sort axis again and change this from descending to ascending. Boom. So this is done. Not done. So there are 2 things that I want you to change. First, let's select this visual first. So it's right here, guys. So the new visual you create always show at the top, right? So you can move it down. So these are cars. You know what? What you can do is to create a group. If you select the first card and press Shift and select the last card, and then right click and click groups. So you can name this group card. This is much nicer, right? So now you have this first visual, first bar chart. So 2 more things I want you to do. Click this. I want to get rid of the name. You see this name here isn't that visible. I actually want to put the name here, just below this chart. It's easier to see. So where is the title? So title is here. Let's just turn it off. So now you actually have more space to display the actual chart. Let's also make sales and budget legend, and let's center it. So let's go back to visual and go to where? Go to legend and top left, and let's change it to top center. So it looks like this. Okay, so now I think we're done. Now we can create a label here. So let's create a label. Let's use text box. Let's go to insert. Let's insert a text box. All right. So let's go inside the text box. Let's type. What is it? So the naming convention is always measures by dimension. So in this case, you can just type what? Sales and budget by category, right? Yeah. So let's select this and let's bold it. Let's make it 11 and let's bold it and let's center it. Nice. Okay. So what else do we need to do? Let me just go to general properties, position. Let's make this 30. What is this width? That's 390. Position 24, 396. 396. Good. See, and let's always do, go to effects, turn off the background, so it's already off. That's good, right? So now all you need to do is let's put the label for the other visuals later, and let's do the second visual. It's much easier if you just create a copy of this first visuals because it is going to inherit all the format. All you need to change is the chart type. So you can just select this, and if you move your mouse away, and you will see if this one is selected. So it's not selected, let's select. So now it's selected. So you can do what? You can Control C and Control V. Okay. So now you have the new. Let's move the new one. So the new one should be, so now you only need to change position, correct? You only need to change position. You don't need to change the size. So the position is 445 and 200. But it's not a bar chart. So is it bar chart? Let me see. It is a bar chart, but it's a different kind of bar chart. So y-axis, I still want category and subcategory, but x-axis, I want something else. I want variance. So let's get rid of sales and budgets. Let's do variance. Let's do variance. Wait. Sorry. Variance instead of variance percentage. But there's one thing I want you to do, which is conditional formatting. So I want to show the length of this bar, from if it's negative, I want to show red, and if it's positive, I want to show green, and I want the color to change gradually, from the lowest to the highest. So what I need to do is go to format, and then I will need to go to bar, right? And you see there is an FX beside the default color. So if you click FX, it's going to be conditional formatting. So over here, and now the format rule says rules. You can change it to gradient. And gradient based on what? So that's click open measure and based on variance. And we need to set the minimum and maximum. So let's also include a middle color. So the middle color is yellow, the lowest is red, the highest is green. That looks okay. Let's click OK. So this change. Wait a minute. Let me see if this is correct. Let's just double check from my Bible. Just give me a second. This is what? This is bar. Yeah, this is bar. And conditional formatting. Right. So it's bar conditional formatting. Yeah, this is the lowest. And I need to enter a value for the middle value. So let's change middle value to custom. So this should be 0. Otherwise, you see the problem? I really want 0 to be yellow. Otherwise, you can gradually change to green or gradually change to red, right? So that's much better because these are all negative. It's negative variance. So they shouldn't show green. It's either yellow or red. So it's done. So this is very well done. What else do we need? So let's move this down. Let's still use the first one. And let's create one more. Control C, Control V. So you have another one. Let's move it down. And you notice that after you change the Y and X axis, that this name will automatically change with it, right? Which is great. So now we just need to reposition this. So go to General, and pick Properties, and click Position. And then we go to, let's select let's select this guy. So let's do a sales and budget over month, by month. Let's do that. So what you need to do is let's first fix the position. So position says 24 and 48. So it's right here. So coming back to, Y and X axis, I actually don't want column chart. I want a line chart, right? So this time it's a line chart. So you can have this selected and change it to line chart. It's pretty easy, right? But then X axis is going to be months. So let's choose months. Where's months? Months is calendar. So let's go to calendar. Let's select months. Where's months? Months is right here. So let's grab months to X axis. And Y is sales and budget. That is fine. Do you immediately see the problem? You see problem? So this says December, November, June, October, September. It's all over the place. It's not in any particular order. Why? So you can just click 3 dots and see sort axis. It's sort by sales, no wonder. It's sort by sales descending. That's why. So I want this to sort by months. Okay, now it's sorted by months, but it's still not correct. See, you know what happened? This is in alphabetic order and it's in descending. You see that? So this is wrong. So how can we sort months, in the order of January, February, and it's not possible if you use this. So there is a very important feature for you to know. So all you need to do is select months over here. So once you select months, the actual month, and you see right here on the menu, it says sort by column. So this shows us months, but you can sort this column by something else, by another column. So you can go down and sort it by month's number. Okay, you see, but now it's in descending order. So what you need to do is go and select axis and by ascending. So now it's correct. So if you're confused, let me show you. So let's collapse this, actually open calendar. So we just need to see months. This is months. You already see the first letter of every month's name, right? The first 3 letters of the month's name. But what is month's number? Month's number is here. So this goes from 1 to 12. So if you sort month by month number, it's going to be easy. So it will be sorted from 1 to 12. That's why now you can fix the problem, right? So this is something for you to learn. So after you have this, we can actually use this to create this chart. So let's select this one, sales and budget. Do you know the naming convention now? Sales and budget by months, right? So this is sales and budget by category. So it's always measures by dimension, right? So select this one and Control C, Control V. So move this down. So let's reposition this. Go to General, Property, and Position. And let me select this on the right. General, Properties, and Position. So this is 445. And what is this? This is 448. Okay. So now coming back here, I need a column chart. So it's going to be this column chart is going to be this guy. Okay? So you have this selected and just change it. Okay. So now x-axis is months, but y-axis, I want to show variance. So you can just get rid of this and expand measure and bring variance to y-axis. And that's it. But I still want you to format this the same way. So remember how to do it. You just need to go to format and then go to column and click the conditional formatting, right? And change the rules to gradient. And what field should we base this on? Go to measure and then select variance. And we need to select a middle color and customize this center at 0. And then it should be fine. So let's check. So now it's fine. I hope you're with me. Okay. If not, that's okay too, to sit back and just watch the whole process. And later on, you can watch the recording and try to reproduce everything at your own pace. So this is not hard at all, but it will give you a very good idea, the end-to-end process. The last two space, I want to create two tables. So from left to the right, you see we have different measures by dimension. So this is at the bottom, this is over the months. At the top, this is by category, I believe. So this is by category. So on the right hand side, I want to show you the details in the list table. So what you need to do is go here and select table. So select table. Oh wait, you see it's dangerous. And this is because I have this one selected. I believe, did I? Oh no, that's because this just occupy the same space maybe. So let's reposition this table. The properties and position. Let's select the table. Okay, go to properties and position is 203.90. I don't have to change the size. You see, once you fix the size, you don't have to change it. So just change the position. So this is 867, 867. So this is 200. All right. I'm coming back to the left. Oh, I did make a mistake. You see, I replaced this with table. Bad. Okay, let's undo it. This is a bad example. Let me just put it back. I hope I can put it back. I should be able to. No. Oh, that's too bad. That's all right. Let me do this. It's not a problem. You know what? Let's redo this. And let me just get rid of this. I just need to use the last one over here. Control C, Control V, right? And let's move this down. And let's go to the right. Let's reposition this. Property and position. So that position should be 445. And this should be 448. Okay, so I have months. I just need to change it to column, right? To column. And I need to get rid of sales and budget and choose variance instead. So then I will need to go to format and go to column and conditional formatting. Right, so change rules to gradient, and then basic variance, and add a middle color and custom middle at the center at 0, and then it should be fine now. Yes, okay. So make sure I don't, override it. So now click the blank canvas. Oh, you see, I just double click this, automatically prepare the Q&A. Let me just remove this. All right. So now it's a good time to click the table. So this is a table. So let's do a table. Go to, I need to, add some fields. So what do I need for the table? I need the product name. So I want to do top 10 products by sales and top 10 customers by sales. So naturally I need product. So let's expand product. I just need the actual product name. Where's product name? It's right here. And then collapse product and expand measure. So I need to bring sales below product name. Okay, so we're good. So let me fix the size and dimension. So go to format, general, property, size and position. So we're looking at 200. They're all of the same size. So 390. Oh, okay. 867. Sometimes it doesn't allow you certain dimension only because it doesn't have enough space. So let's do the position first. 200. So the position is actually the top left point, right? So then I can do the width. So it's 390. So now it's correct. Okay. So the tricky part of this is the top 10. So how do we do top 10? So we need filter again. Let's go to view and click filter. So we have filter here. Let me see, filter. Yeah. So you see product name over here. You can just click down arrow and then click basic filtering. So it has advanced filtering, basic filtering, and top end. So you need to click top end. And here, just type 10. So you have top 10 by what? By sales. So you can bring sales to by value over here and then apply filter. So now you have only top 10, right? Only top 10. So what we can do is let's just adjust the width. Move this a little. Okay. Just give me a sec. Make this a little to the right. Yeah. So that's about right. I think this is too fine, this font size. Okay, font. So let's go to format. Let's go to font. Value. So this is 8. Let's increase it to 10. So that's much better. Okay, so top 10. But once again, these names are not good. So let's get rid of the total first. Where's the total? So if you're not sure, you can always search it. Total. Oh, so this is total label. So what if I turn this off? Yeah, so it works. Okay, so you can always search it. So what about the header? Do we have the header? Column header is right here, and that is too small. Column header, and let's make it 10 as well. Does it look better? Yeah, it looks better. So now, if you really want to sort this in descending order, you can click this little down arrow, and then it will be sorted from the highest to the lowest. Okay, so once you create this, what is this one? Okay, so this is sales by product, right? Oh, this is the table, sorry, it's right here. So now let's hide the filter. Let's move the table down. So this is one table. And you can select this and create a copy. So Control-C, Control-V. So this is the second table. All right. So let's differentiate the two tables. And the first table is top. What is it? That's top 10. Wait a minute. Which one is correct? So wait, so this is actually the correct one. So this is top 10 products by sales. Okay, now let's move this down. So rename this to top 10 customers sales. All right. So let's reposition the top 10 customer by sales. But first of all, let's just remove product name. We need customer name instead of product name. Let's go to customer. Let's look for customer name. Where is customer full name? Where full name here. Okay. So now let's reposition this. General properties position. Okay. Let me just take a look at the position. It should be 867 448 440. Oops, sorry, 448. Okay. All right. So let's make sure the filter is correct. So let's turn on the filter again. So this shouldn't be product name. Let's just get rid of this. So this should be full name over here, and click the down arrow and select top 10 and top 10, and then by what? By sales. So bring sales to by value and apply filter. So everything else should work. So let's just adjust the width. Okay, so then, yeah, so this is correct. All right, we still have 17 minutes left. So let's just create a label. So this is the text box. So I'm not going to rename this. It's too much work. But we need to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 text box. So let's press Control-C and Control-V 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. Geez. This can be messy, but let's reposition this one by one. So this is the one at the bottom is actually below the first visual. Okay, so then select from this one. So let me make sure I got it right. So the only difference is position, right? Go to properties, and this is position. So this is supposed to be 445 and 396. 396. Okay, so it's here. Right, so you know what, then move this down here. You know what, let's move everyone here, just every other one. Let's move down here. Let's move this down here. And let's move this to the last one. All right, so we did this, right? Now let's do this. So this should be 867, and then vertical is 396. 396. All right, so this one should be 24. And what is this? 641. Second last one should be 443. 443, and then 641. 641. And this is the last one. And the last one should be 867, 867, and 641. 8641, 841. Oh, let me see. Oh, 641, sorry. Okay, so now let's rename it. So this is supposed to be variance, the budget, the budget, by category, sorry. This is top 10 and product by sales. And this guy is, wait a minute, sales and budget by months. So this sales and budget by months. So remember, I think now you learned the naming convention. It's always measured by dimension, right? And this one should be variance by months. So this is variance by months. And this is top 10 customers by sales. All right. So I think by now we have finished all the, visualization. So you see, this is actually pretty nice. If you want, you can group them again. So for instance, you can group this to the top. This, right? So you can rename this. Top visuals. Yeah, and group this. Oh, wait a minute. I think I did it wrong. Let's ungroup it. I think the sequence is wrong. Oh, so now I mess up everything. So if I have time, I would just regroup this 3 at the top. Let's do it. Oh, you know what? Let's use the time to go through the story. I think that's much more important. So after this, you can just unselect this selection, unselect this, and select this. Okay, so with this, I'm going to go through the actual commentary. We go to the actual commentary. So I'm going to do the voiceover. So what happened is, it's January 2017. So remember, we went from December 2015 when we create the budget and create the plan for 2016. So then we experienced the whole year 2016. And after that, now we are in January 2017. So we have the full year 2016 performance versus budget. Okay, so it's January 2017, and the CEO and everybody else received your 2016 sales performance dashboard, which is this. So everybody received it and including the CEO. So the CEO is much higher level. So right away, the CEO look at the big numbers at the top. They caught his attention. So right here, 16.5 million versus budget 16.9. Negative variance. You know what? Sorry, the CEO is a little upset. So he called the VP sales into his office, and then he said, hey, Mr. VP sales, we didn't achieve the goal. VP sales, he's prepared. And he paused for a moment and he shared a different perspective. And what he did, he pointed at the line chart over here. So once again, guys, I think you've learned there's always a different way to look at the same thing. You can look at the same thing from a different angle, right? So you can look at the sales performance versus budget, from a different dimension. So in this case, the VP sales choose by months. So sales and budget by months over time. So he pointed at the line chart. And boss, if you look at January, right? Let's look at the January. And then you see the tooltip. So it says January, the sales was actually above plan, above budget. But the sales is only 886,000. It's not even 1 million, right? Yeah, it's above budget, so what? But it's small. But if you fast forward to December, what do you see? You see sales is a little below budget, but it's almost 2 million, correct? So what do you see? It's a big uptrend, right? It's a big uptrend. It more than double the January number at almost 2 million. It's amazing growth, right, Fox? So then the VP sales took a step back. He said, to be honest, I always thought 2016 plan was a little aggressive. The actual versus plan always depend on how high or how low you set the bar, right? I personally believe 2016 plan was a little aggressive, but even for that aggressive plan number or budget, the variance was only a small negative 396,000. It's small. And guess what? How the CEO respond? The CEO said, oh, good point. I will use your growth story. It's a growth story. We should tell everybody. So because I'm going to the next week's board meeting, and that's why I'm a little worried. So now that you share with me a different perspective, I'm going to use the same perspective. So I think I feel good. I feel much better now. And by the way, let's set up a bonus pool. And we should reward the sales team. And the sales team did a fantastic job. And because you just double the sales over a short 12 months. Let's also discuss the product strategy with the product team. Okay, imagine a week later, the CEO met with the VP sales and the VP product. Again, you see, we have different departments and with different perspective, right? So we have VP sales, we have VP product, and plus 3 product managers under VP product. And the 3 product manager, they're in charge of different categories, accessories and bikes and clothing. So whoever responsible for bike sales, he didn't need to say anything because if you look at bikes and bikes performance, it generates almost 90% of the total sales, and he looked like a star, right? And he really shined. But the VP product said, boss, we would like to walk you through our product design and the pricing strategy to identify the opportunities and grow the sales in 2017. So now we would like to give you a little presentation. So then he turned to his 3 product managers And which one of you would like to go first? So you see the accessories product manager, and he broke the science. He said, if you look at the sales by subcategory, so what he did is this. Remember, we put subcategory in this visual as well. So you're able to draw down. Just right click this, just right click and click draw down. Boom. So you see everything change. You see that? This changed, the card changed, and everything changed. So this is only accessory, right? This is only accessory. And this is the entire world of the accessory product manager. So now you realize, wow, it's the same dashboard, but it serves many purposes. And depending on who you are, where you come from, and you may use the same dashboard for different purpose to communicate different message. So this is his message. So you may think he looked bad because accessories didn't generate that much sales. But what he said is, if you look at sales by subcategory, not all subcategories were doing so bad. If you look at one or maybe two, if you look at helmets and tires and tubes, they're actually doing pretty good, right? Helmets and tires and tubes, it did pretty well in 2016. And especially, if you look to the right, if you look at the top sales by product name, and once again, it's sorted in descending order. If you look at the helmets, look at the red helmet. It generates 75,000. I don't know. Maybe we should produce more red helmets because it's so better, right? So we could have, different strategy to, increase and boost the sales. What do you think? So I think we should produce more red helmets. Okay, so then feeling encouraged, the clothing PM also stood up. So what he did, you need to drill up first, and the clothing PM also drill down, and then you see the entire world, for the clothing. Do you see any stars? Jersey, Jersey was doing really well, right? So once again, you see all these are so useful, and you can drill down, you can tell different stories. But for the closing product manager, what did he say? He said, I really want to contact the top 10 customers. These are the top 10 customers. If you look at the names, Jordan, Maurice, and Janet. So you know what? He said, they bought so much from us. They must really like our products. And you know what? I will set up interviews. I like to interview each one of them. So after that interview, I will collect, the use stories. I will submit a product bundle name and pricing proposal to encourage the existing customers to purchase more. So I would encourage repeat purchases using some strategies like discount, or if you buy this with that, it's going to be less in total, right? So I will submit a new proposal, how to generate more closing sales in the year of 2007. So how do you feel so far? 2017, sorry. So the VP in the whole time is looking at the CEO, and he saw that the CEO is nodding his head, and he has been smiling the whole time. So it's a happy ending. I don't know. I think when you go through this entire process, and when you put yourself in the shoes of the actual user of your dashboard, you start to realize, this dashboard is actually quite useful. And you probably have more ideas and different ideas in terms of how to design this dashboard. It's already, it's almost 10 o'clock. Let me just show you two things. I didn't have time to go through. So this is the same dashboard I did before, just for this lesson, but I did two things extra. I also did a decomposition tree. So in order to do this, I actually create, I think I create some calculated column. For instance, if I go to customers, what did I create? I create age. So for instance, I calculate the last day of 2016 and the difference between the birthday and the last day of 2016. So this is the age. So I also create something, maybe that's it. And I don't remember very clear. So then I was able to do some decomposition tree. So this is the AI within Power BI. Just give this a few seconds to respond. Okay, so you can use decomposition tree. You start from so it's a tree from left to the right. So this is the root, and then you start to grow branches and leaves, right? So this is the total sale. So if you can just right click. This is actually pretty easy. You just right click, and then it will allow you to see at, let me just, okay, at the category level, which category contribute the most? And we all know bikes contribute the most. And then you just follow this of the bikes and which subcategory can contribute the most, and that's the road bikes. And within the road bikes, and which product contribute the most. So you can do this, grow the tree from root to the branches and to the leaves and to the nodes until. So this is the good thing. This is the high value. You could also grow the tree by low value. So you can find out who are the stars and who are the suckers. Who are the top performers and who are the bottom performers. And all you need to do is to manage exceptions, right? So you want to reward the top performers. You want to penalize the bottom performers. You have to drive everybody, and drive up all their performance in terms of product, in terms of customer. So this is one thing you could do, just along this hierarchy, from category to subcategory to product. And the other one is key influencer. So key influencer is also AI within Power BI. So what you need to do is on the right-hand side, so let's say for what we care about the most is the sales performance. We really want to analyze the sales as explained by these many variables, right? So you can put in age, so there's commute distance, education, gender, demographic information about the customer. And does the customer own a house? The marital status before and after they get married? Did they change the purchase behavior? Number of cars owned, number of children at home, occupation, total children, and yearly income, and all the good stuff. So you can use all these and try to find the most predictive variable that can explain the sales, and then you can predict. So if some of the highly predictable variable change this much, how much the sales is going to increase or decrease. So this is the result. And unfortunately, the result doesn't really make sense. So for instance, if the age goes up like 2,487 years, and you're going to increase the sales by this much. This just doesn't make sense. And total children goes down to 98, and income goes up. But sometimes it makes intuitive sense. So if the income goes up, probably you will purchase more, right? And if the age goes up, and when you become adults, and probably your behavior will change. But this gives you an idea, the things you could try. But because of this data, maybe we don't have enough data, or maybe this data is not a good enough sample. But these are the things you could try. So you could try decomposition tree. You could try the key influencer. You could also, the other day we tried smart narrative, and you could also do Q&A. So you can easily, answer some questions with some quick to do charts and graphs. So I'm going to stop here. Let me just see how many people are still with me. And we still have 23, and not bad. And do we have any questions? Let me just go to chat. Not really. So it looks like everybody understands the content we went through. And in short, 3 hours, we actually went through quite a bit, right? So we went through the whole process to get data, clean up data, and then create the relationship between tables. And then we create a data model. And then we built some measures, and then we start visualizing. And then end of the day, we want the dashboard to be useful. So the dashboard is useful because it is interactive, it is dynamic, and the most important thing is for you to really understand the business users and how they make decisions, how they solve problems, how they answer everyday questions. And you also realize within the business group, you have different departments, and you have people at all levels of the work hierarchy. So you have CEO and the VPs, and they care about the high level. You also have directors and middle managers, and they probably are responsible for the tactics. And you also have employees for running the business from day to day, and they really care about the things that at the very detail. So if you need to serve the business at 3 different levels, obviously you will need to design the dashboard with the drill down capability, and you will need to include different dimensions so you can serve people from different departments because they will look at the same KPI from different angles and different dimensions, right? And everybody, finance particularly, will look at things over time, right? So I think this simple example still gives you a really good framework, or you experience the process from beginning to the end, and how to start with the business requirements, and then go deep in the weeds and get data and process the data, and then create the dashboard, and then go back to the business and ask the business, does this serve your purpose? Do you think this is a good dashboard? And oftentimes, this is not just done once and then successful. And sometimes you have to go through an iterative process. And the business will say, oh, I really, really like this part, but that part, if you change it a little bit, or if you swap these 2 charts, so it flows more naturally. So looks like you're going to work with both this business team and IT team. And you work with IT to get data. You work with business because they're your customers. And some of you may enjoy working horizontally back and forth, right? Some of you may feel, you're really creating value for the business because without you, the business simply don't have the visibility, and they cannot really make data-driven decisions, because most people, I tell you, cannot consume even the few tables we saw. They just have to get the message within like half a minute. The CEOs and the important customers, they have even less attention span. So nowadays, if everybody has to tell stories with data, and then you can see yourself playing a very big role. because your work is visible, and therefore you're visible, and you can connect yourself to the people, the important people with opportunity and with power. Okay, so question. Is the golden rule? Oh, that one I already answered. Thank you so much, Eric. That was excellent. So thank you as well. So starting next week, so I will be still with you. So it's about your time, and it's about you building a project. So Shawa and I will provide some business use cases, and they come with data. So you can be creative. But if you need guidance, we're there for you. You can submit a proposal, and you can tell us what you are about to do. You could also create groups. You know, if several of you like to work on one project, and by all means, you can create a group, maybe within Discord. So it's already 10 past 10, 11 past 10. And I thank you very much for your time. And I hope every one of you have a pleasant weekend. And so I will see most of you, if not all of you, next Wednesday.